generations of this country by the left will be the dominant theme of a history of post-World War II America and 21st century America.
The Dennis Prager Show.
Is almost over. Yeah, the Democrats have pulled the trigger, and they will introduce articles of impeachment. That means very soon now, Jerry Nadler's face will no longer spend half the day. Know that you can look forward to his face being gone. Anyway, somehow they forgot about spying, and now the two articles are obstruction of Congress and hurting Adam Schiff's feelings. No, actually, it's obstruction of Congress and abuse of power and hurting Adam Schiff's feelings. Amazing how fast bribery went away, though. There should be a vote in the full House before Christmas. It's a joke, of course, and not one Republican's going to vote for it. Meanwhile, the IG report is out there, and if you look at you'll see a headline that will say something like, IG report shows no bias, which isn't true, but we'll get into that and other things with Kimberley Strassel of the Wall Street Journal. She's a columnist there, the editorial board. She also wrote a book called Resistance at All Costs, How Trump Haters Are Breaking America. We had her on when her book came out a month or two ago. Well, they hate Donald Trump, that's for sure, and there's no doubt about that. But the big news is still to come. That's when U.S. Attorney John Durham starts filing charges, and the Attorney General, Bill Barr, did an interview with NBC, and see if you keep saying that Donald Trump
The greatest danger to our free system is that the incumbent government use the apparatus of the state, principally the law enforcement agencies and the intelligence agencies, both to spy on political opponents, but also to use them in a way that could affect the outcome of the election. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time in history that this has been done to a presidential campaign, the use of techniques against a presidential campaign. And we have to remember that in today's world, presidential campaigns are frequently in contact with foreign persons. Indeed, in most campaigns, there are signs of that the campaigns are nefarious and traitors and acting in league with foreign powers. There has to be some basis before we use these very potent powers.
Well, it sure sounds like he's calling it spying to me, and he's saying that it's going pretty far up. I didn't come right out and say that it was all the way up there to President Obama, but, you get the feeling that's what he's thinking. Anyway, it does sure sound like spying, and when we come back, we're going to talk.
When you tell a tale that isn't true.
Here you go, boo. I'm watching you.
Hope you heard the thing I said. You're being hard-headed.
Here you go, boo. I'm watching you.
Do the thing you shouldn't do.
Here you go, boo. I'm watching you.
They blow into town with the wind, rain, and hail. And out-of-town storm chasers going door to door, often posing as a local company offering a quick fix to desperate homeowners. If you've had damage to your roof, windows, siding, or gutters and downspouts, you may be eligible to get them replaced or repaired free of charge. Just be careful who you call. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com for a free inspection from one of their highly trained appraisers. With over 50 years in home remodeling, Windows R Us is the area's premier exterior replacement company for roofs, siding, gutters and downspouts, doors, and of course windows. If damage isn't your issue and you just want something new, you'll love their no-pressure approach, no hidden fees, and one of the fastest turnaround times in the industry. A company who will never skip town when it comes to honoring their warranty. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com. Mention STAG for an additional 10% off. Windows R Us, proud sponsor of the Jerk of the Week, heard every Friday on the John Steigerwald Show. WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
Do you want to get rid of your expensive landline, save money, but keep your important home telephone number? Then OurOldNumber.com has the perfect solution. It allows you to keep landline connection. With OurOldNumber.com, calls from family and friends to your home phone number are answered by a personal greeting from you. The caller selects which family member they want to reach, and the call is immediately forwarded to that family member's cell phone. Your important home phone number is still your number. It's still in directory assistance, and no matter where you call. Annoying sales calls. Now, your home telephone number can be as mobile as you and your family are with OurOldNumber.com. Visit OurOldNumber.com to learn more and get started today. OurOldNumber.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Do you have brain fog and lack of energy during the day? If so, take clarity with all-natural Cola Gel, newly discovered jellyfish collagen peptides that aids with brain and memory support. Cola Gel is all-natural with no side effects. Edible jellyfish collagen uniquely supplies the body with multiple collagen peptides and naturally occurring minerals that fuels our cellular system with energy-rich compounds. Jellyfish collagen is a nutritive formula that promotes optimum neurological activity and improves cognitive memory. Receive your first bottle free plus shipping by visiting longevitybynature.biz and enter promo code COLAGEL. That's longevitybynature.biz and enter promo code COLAGEL. KOLLAGELL. Get your first bottle free plus shipping by visiting longevitybynature.biz promo code COLAGEL. Eliminate
to advance your career or a company looking to advance your business, Advanced Sourcing Concepts is your bridge to success. Advanced Sourcing Concepts matches highly reputable veteran hiring leader. Visit AM.
Kimberley Strassel, a couple other things that Barr said in that interview at NBC. The IG report said there was no bias, but he's not necessarily buying that. He says that all he said, meaning Michael Horowitz, the IG, all he said was people gave me an explanation and I didn't find anything to contradict it. He hasn't decided the issue of improper motive. I think we have to wait until the full investigation is done. And he also said that, and this is what Barr said, I think our nation was turned on its head for 3 years based on a completely bogus narrative and that was largely fanned and hyped by a completely irresponsible press. That's a pretty strong sentence right there. Bogus narrative and an irresponsible press. I think there were gross abuses and inexplicable behavior that is intolerable in the FBI. That's not something he wrote. That's what he said in an interview. That's a pretty good statement there off the cuff. He said, I think that leaves open the possibility that there was bad faith. Now, while we have a minute here, I found that music that I want to play. Speaking of spying, I know about the Cadillacs. They had a big hit, Speedo, back in the 50s. But this is called Peekaboo, and this is going to be our theme from now on for spying. I love this.
When you tell a tale that isn't true,
Peekaboo, I'm watching you.
hope you heard the thing I said. Let it sink in your big hard head.
Peekaboo, I'm watching you.
Do the thing you shouldn't do.
Peekaboo, I'm watching you.
I never heard that song. I just wanted another excuse to play it. We're still waiting for Kimberley Strassel here. The name of her book, talked about it with her, and this is interesting because, the title of the book is Resistance at All Costs, How Trump Haters Are Breaking America. And the book is about, obviously, how Trump haters are breaking America, but she goes into detail about all the things that have been going on, and she talks about the media, and she's making the point that it all led to, or was leading to, the breaking up of America, and that was before, the impeachment hearings that we've been dealing with, and I'm just, that's like the culmination of the resistance and the Trump haters and breaking America. What better sign of when they're discussing it on television and on cable news and talking about what it means. I mean, I heard Juan Williams say on Fox that the IG said there's no bias, and the IG didn't say that, but that's what the headline was on. I think it was CNN, or no, it was ABC. Report says no bias by the FBI. And that's not what he said. As Barr explained, it was more, there was no documentation of bias, but that's not, he didn't really get into it that much. And what Barr is saying is that when they have the full investigation, believe me, that investigation, everybody knows that's been going on for a long time. John Durham, the U.S. attorney, has been doing that. We know that investigation has been ongoing, and it's going to be. We're going to get the results of that, I hope, pretty soon. They've been saying it for a long time. I see Kimberley Strassel has called in, and as soon as we get her punched through, we'll get her in to talk about it. Again, she's a columnist with the Wall Street Journal and the author of Resistance at All Costs: How Trump Haters Are Breaking America. Kimberley, thanks for joining us.
It is great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, you missed the song that I found from the 50s. I want to play. I'm just going to give you a little bit more of this because I played a song from. So I looked for a song about spying, and I found this from the Cadillacs from a long time. Thought about it, and I kind of came up with this, and I'd like to see if you agree with me. Needed to be drained. He had to beat, I forget now, 16 or 17 Republicans, whatever it was, in the primary, including Jeb Bush, who was, I think, a lot of people were expecting to be anointed as the nominee. And then he beat Hillary, it was supposed to be her turn to be president. When you think about all that and everything that he was up against and everything that he's been saying and all his
Yeah, Democrats have been promising it from day one. And, I think that this is one of the problems that they had this week is you have Maxine Waters standing there in the background, the person that has been calling for Donald Trump to be was elected. Out that it was clear the FBI had not behaved appropriately, and there's a lot of people who could take a bow in that. The big losers here are the FBI Jim Comey and the other leadership. Also, Adam Schiff, the guy who provided us a memo in February of 2018 assuring us that the FBI did not abuse the FISA process. That was clear misinformation.
Yeah, and Devin Nunes had a memo that looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, this is one of the great things. Look, this report provides a lot of valuable information to America, but it highlights in particular that there was one congressman who was honest with her in 2018, and that was Devin Nunes. Everything he exposed in his memo was IG report yesterday. And then there was another congressman, Adam Schiff, who put out a rival memo, and that was disinformation. And by the way, in case anyone's forgotten, that's the guy who just brought you impeachment.
Yeah, right. Now, we started seeing some leaks about this IG report and kind of warning people that it wasn't going to be all that it was up to be. But in the end, did the report live up to the billing? Republicans be satisfied with what the report came up with?
I absolutely believe so, and here's why. Okay, even though it's done in very careful IG legal and anodyne language, it takes it to the FBI. First of all, it confirms everything we knew about the Steele dossier and the way that dossier was used. And also the fact that the dossier is complete bunk, right? We can now put that thing to just put aside. But it also excoriates the FBI in terms of its interaction with the FISA court. And this really matters. That court authorizes one of the most intrusive tools the FBI uses, surveillance against American citizens. The FBI is supposed to be scrupulously accurate in the information it provides. The IG detailed in great amounts of information the way in which it violated those obligations in really very disturbing ways. And some of the other stuff that the mainstream media is saying, oh, this exonerates everyone, all of that is overblown.
Yeah, I mean, it was immediate. The headlines were FBI, IG report says no bias from FBI. That was the headline, I think, on ABC. And I heard Juan Williams say that today on Fox. He said that this morning. Yeah. That's his take. Well, hey, there was no bias. And they're going to run with that, obviously.
Well, let me be clear. Here's what the IG said. He said he found no documentary evidence of bias. What that means is he didn't find an email or a memo in which the investigative team said, hey, let's take down Donald Trump, okay? Mm-hmm. But he did, for the record, he had a whole section in his report listing the bias exhibited by different members of the team, and including listing those text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, which happened to come immediately after they opened an investigation into Donald Trump. More importantly, and here's the takeaway line, this is the important thing about bias, is that the IG said, abused all of these authorities. And that is, in essence, the
pretty sure that Jim Comey was taking a victory lap today with an op he wrote. He was able to get that 5 minutes after the report came out.
Yeah, the funny thing is having watched Jim Comey over the years, I mean, Jim Comey would find a way to take a moralizing victory lap even if he was headed to jail. I mean, this guy has no humility, like, whatsoever. And, that's a bunch of nonsense, by the way, his op-ed. This is a guy who's now been the central player in 3 reports from the IG that have accused him on everything from insubordination to reckless FBI that duped the FISA court. You know, Jim Comey's tenure is going to result in some 40 or 50 reforms within the FBI to make sure people don't have a repeat behavior. He's the only guy in the FBI who was ever fired for cause. I don't think he's got much.
Didn't think there was any way Hillary Clinton was going to lose. So that to me, that drove everything, because there's a lot of really stupid things that were done that you couldn't possibly believe that smart people would do it unless they thought that there was no way they were going to get caught because their person was going to be in charge.
Right. This is an incredibly important point, and it's why I spent some real time on it in the book. Because think about what they did. First of all, they assumed that Hillary within the executive branch would ever take a look at what they did or expose what they did. They purposely kept this from Congress. Okay, usually if you are engaged in a counterintelligence investigation, one of the first things you do is report that, because then they trade information. Congress members are getting important information from their sources in foreign countries. This is an information sharing process. Jim Comey deliberately hid it from them. And then, as we now know, because of the IG report yesterday, they were not straight up with the FISA court about that. Therefore had license to break a lot of rules.
And they believed they were going to get away with an issue with involved in this when they withhold exculpatory evidence. I mean, that I don't think it gets any more rotten than that. When you know that you're withholding evidence that might exonerate the person that you're after.
And this is why the IG specifically highlighted a couple of these instances. You know, we now know, by the way, you started the show with the spying song.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Jim Comey saying, spied for us. Yes, the Trump campaign was spied upon. There were confidential human sources, if you want to use the more technical word, who went and sidled up to Trump campaign officials and then got them and taped their conversations. And then in the course of those tapes, it turns out that both Carter Page and George Papadopoulos make statements that do not support the FBI's case for collusion. They had an absolute obligation to provide that to the court. They're supposed to provide evidence both in favor of their warrants, but also anything that would undercut their warrant. This was a clear and egregious violation.
And I have about a minute left, and I'm up against a hard break. The subtitle of your book, again, is How Trump Haters Are Breaking America. Is impeachment the epitome of that subtitle?
Yes, it is, and it's showing how you really do break America, because with this watered-down, low-level impeachment, Democrats are setting the stage for us to use impeachment in the future to settle political differences, and that's a scary thing.
Got 30 seconds. Do you expect to see any these people indicted, the big names?
Well, for that, we're going to have to wait from the report from the U.S. Attorney John Durham, but he sounds like he's serious, given that statement yesterday.
Yeah, and Barr sounds like he's pretty serious, too. I appreciate you being here, Kimberly, and good. Congratulations on the book. I know it's doing well. It's a great book. Thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to come back.
All right, thank you. That's Kimberley Strassel, Resistance at All Costs, How Trump Haters Are Breaking America. And we will be right back. We're going to talk about, Mayor Bill Peduto. He might be the greenest mayor, not only in the United States, but in the entire world. I don't know if that's a good thing. We'll talk about it when we come back.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The House is moving towards 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump.
The president's continuing abuse of his power has left us no choice.
House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff, as he and other panel leaders charge the president with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. his dealings with Ukraine. Top House Republican Kevin McCarthy says they're the ones abusing power.
I don't care if you think Americans who support President Trump are deplorables, but you do not have the right to disqualify their vote just because you do not like President Trump.
The president says impeaching somebody with his record is sheer political madness. The House is looking at a full vote by Christmas.
Correspondent Sagar Magani reporting. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 27 points. The Nasdaq dropped 5. The S&P lower by 3. Crude oil up 22 cents to $59.24 a barrel. This is SRN News.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My story begins with debt, a lot of debt. Quick commercial for Trinity. I gave them a call.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
When I first called, I was a little embarrassed and kind of ashamed, and I looked at the numbers and I saw how quickly that astronomical debt that was in my life would go away.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
What I would tell other people, please pick up the phone and call Trinity. Just let them put together a program and see how affordable and easy it is to pay off your debt.
Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Mike Gallagher is waiting for the other shoe to drop.
See, here's the thing about an impeachment. Both sides have to testify. Here's the thing about actually stupidly going forward trying to impeach the 45th president of the United States. The Democrats are going to have to speak under oath. And a lot of people who have been anti-Trump are going to have to be held to account.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at noon on AM 1250. The Answer.
This is Jay Hagerman of Abernathy & Hagerman. Upon your passing, you wouldn't want a judge to decide who raises your children or how your estate gets divided. It is important to review your estate planning documents to ensure they protect what matters most. At Abernathy & Hagerman, we will work with you to establish an estate plan that nominates a guardian for your minor children. Your assets are used for
Now through the end of the year, the Chevy discount is for everyone. So right now you can lease a new 2020 Chevy Trax LS for as low as $119 per month. This is a 36-month, 30,000-mile lease with $2,999 plus tax and registration due at signing. Must qualify with a current lease and approved credit. Check them out at Calusi.com. Find new roads at Calusi Chevrolet.
Do you or your business have financial problems? Are you overwhelmed with debt? Then call me, Attorney Dennis Spire, at 412-471. This concentrates on bankruptcy law, debtor rights, and tax matters. I have over 30 years' experience as a former United States Department of Justice bankruptcy attorney and lawyer in private practice. I have represented thousands of cases with financial problems and lawsuits. Reorganize and get a fresh start. Call 412-471-7675 or visit my website at Dennis.
Healthy pets, healthy people, focusing on a natural, holistic approach for human and animal wellness. Host Dr. Edmund Solkowski and his guests discuss various topics on health and wellness for us and our companion animals. Airs each Saturday, live from 9 to 10 in the morning on 12:50 a.m. The Answer, giving you the opportunity to call in with your questions. A healthy pet is a happy pet, and being healthy makes people happy. Tune in, listen, learn, be well.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
On the Parkway North, watch out for a crash on the outbound side, blocking the left lane at Union Avenue. You're jammed up from McKnight Road on up. Parkway West, big delays inbound 79 to the Fort Pitt Tunnel. Outbound also slowing Parkway Center Drive to Carnegie. Parkway East stacking up outbound Bates Street to Edgewood Swissvale. An accident in Duquesne Library Place at Duquesne Boulevard. That's a look at traffic. I'm Jenny Robinson.
AM 1250, The Answer. Weather.
Brisk tonight with flurries early, otherwise much colder, clearing late, low 20. Sunshine tomorrow, breezy and cold, high 32. Cold tomorrow night with a moonlit sky, low 18. Sunshine Thursday, but still chilly, high 38. Friday, cloudy to partly sunny with afternoon showers, high 43. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Brian May.
This is the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
Eventually, we're actually going to have elections, and we're going to have other issues to deal with beyond, how to get rid of Donald Trump. Have to run on ideas, you would think. One of their big ideas, though, of course, is the Green New Deal. And in Pennsylvania, that would mean, if you followed the Green New Deal, no more coal, no more fracking. Chad Forcey is the executive director of the Conservative Energy Forum. He joins us now. Chad, thanks for being here.
Hey, John, glad to be with you.
So I saw that a recent Pew Research Center poll found that 60% of millennial Republicans agree that climate change is having having a problem already, is making problems for America already, and half of them believe the government isn't doing enough. And that scares me a little bit. Should it?
Well, it's interesting. When it comes to millennials, the numbers tell us that, yes, they tend to be far more interested in climate change than their generational counterparts in the Republican Party that are older than them. That said, we actually recently conducted a survey of our own with Public Opinion Strategies out of D.C., a Republican firm, and we asked voters these questions, and across all age groups, demographics, and parties, they told us, without a doubt, that scientists are not in agreement when it comes to climate change, and that there are questions there. And that said, that they absolutely prefer approaches that allow markets and businesses to provide more.
You know that there's indoctrination going on in schools, but you would think that you have a chance because if usually a Republican is going to be the son or daughter of a Republican, that's kind of the way it works, at least early on. And you would hope that their parents are warning them about the indoctrination they're getting on this subject in school.
Well, they are, and they tell me about it when I meet with them. When I go to meet with a college group, as I've done at University of Pittsburgh and Temple in recent months. We interestingly enough had a meeting out at Temple University with our former Lieutenant Governor Jim Cawley, with the college Republican group out there, and it was actually a really, really exciting meeting. We got coverage in the Guardian newspaper of all things, but what was cool about that was that I was able to speak out against the Green New Deal, and I got a big applause. They also talked about the fact that they get in trouble with their peers and sometimes even with professors for being conservatives at a major liberal arts university, and I think that tends to be a case around the country. I mean, the young Republicans and young conservatives at the universities, they pay a price, but they tend to be movers and shakers and independent thinkers and entrepreneurial folks, and they're willing to do that in order to stand up for their beliefs. And so when I was able to tell that group, look, we prefer markets producing a better product to social politics all the time in the classroom, and they enjoyed hearing me talk about the alternatives that Republicans provide.
We're talking to Chad Forcey. He's the executive director of the Conservative Energy Forum. What exactly is the Conservative Energy Forum, Chad? What are you up to out there?
Yeah, we're a brand new organization. We were founded in 2018, and some key folks in Pennsylvania, including I should remiss if I didn't mention Jim Seif, Secretary of Environmental Protection under Tom Ridge, and Tom Stevenson from out in Western PA, former state representative, just to name a few, who came together and said, look, conservatives have a lot more common sense approach to energy than the left does. We need a voice. We need a voice with respect to all of the above and energy diversity because of jobs, economic development, national security. And yes, some of us are investing in solar. Some of us are investing in natural gas, and that's okay. The fact that we like both doesn't mean we have to pound on one and appreciate the other. The natural gas is good. We know that natural gas has eliminated 40 million short tons of carbon emissions in Pennsylvania over the last decade. It's because of the Marcellus Shale revolution. That's good. Now, the left will bash natural gas. We're not going to do that. We're here to talk about diversity and all of the above, and that's what our group stands for.
Well, Mayor Bill Peduto of Pittsburgh is not only one of the greenest mayors in the country, he's one of the greenest in the world. He hates fracking. He hates oil and gas. He'd like everybody to be riding a bike down the parkways to work every morning. How do you deal with him and other Western PA Democrats who think like that? Because this guy, I mean, I think he was over in Spain with a United Nations organization over there. This guy is as green as they get.
Well, he is, and you know, I think Western PA is. I don't have to tell you this because you know the lay of the land. It's an exciting place for Republicans and conservatives right now, where the brand is growing, the registration is trending from D to R, and we like that. And look, you know, as much. In the state Senate and now in Congress, it's one of our friends. He's done some things with us, and we support him. And he, you know, he took the lead could have in prior times been solely the purview of the Democrats, and he took the lead on that. And this was all about cutting regulations and opening up new markets, which is what we like to talk about in our organization.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but Mayor Peduto is the second mayor in the country to sign on to the United Nations SDGs. I don't know if you know what SDGs are. In case you don't.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, Sustainable Development Goals. That's as scary as it gets. Anything with United Nations in it scares me. He says it doesn't matter what is decided at the federal level. Implementing SDGs comes down to the local level. That also sounds pretty scary.
Yeah, and the mayor is not in sync with the political went out to the Technology Council and walked around with some of the innovators and entrepreneurs who are changing business and growing new markets out in the western part of the state. You know, we were talking about innovation. We were talking about investment dollars. You know, I didn't hear anything good about the mayor that day. You know, I hope that he can listen to some of the more conservative voices that are growing in Allegheny County. And
can banning fracking be a winning issue for someone running in Western PA, outside of Pittsburgh, you know, outside of Allegheny County, let's say?
I don't think so. I don't see how it could happen. I mean, the candidates that are running for office, even on the D side, and I think of Connor Lamb, and we've had a number of conversations with him. You know, he's about as far to the right as you can get in the Democrat Party these days.
He's also invisible, but that's another thing. He can't. It's hard to find. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I hear you. So, you know, he's not saying that.
No.
And smart Democrats who are trying to have some appeal across the aisle are not saying that, and certainly not in Western PA. You know, the ban fracking movement, which I hear mostly about out in the southeastern part of Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia area, I don't think that's ever going to get much traction in your neck of the woods, and I hope it doesn't, because the Marcellus Shale revolution has created so much wealth and so many jobs and has changed the game economically for Pennsylvania. And as I mentioned before, it's reduced a ton of carbon. If you want to see less carbon, then we need to see, we need to see more natural gas as well as solar and wind and some of the other approaches that we've talked about.
Now, do you think that the solar and wind power companies should get subsidies, government subsidies?
No, I think that the free markets ought to be free and they ought to be level. You know, one of the problems we have in energy is that legacy sources, due to a lot of regulation, you know, government will regulate it, tax it, and then subsidize it, as Reagan used to say, right? Mm-hmm. So we've seen this in coal, and we've seen this, we saw it in steel, we've seen it in coal, we see it in in nuclear, and regulatory costs there are extraordinary, and there are good reasons, I suppose, for some of that, but they could be lowered. And then we see it in natural gas. So what we want to see in energy is a level playing field. Let's get the government out of the business of regulating it, taxing it, and then subsidizing it, and let's free and fair. Now, in such a marketplace, we have a formula that the Department of Energy has given us called levelized cost of energy, and what that allows us to do is to strip away the government interference in the marketplace, which is widespread, and actually look at the costs. And when you do that, you see that the lowest cost forms of energy in Pennsylvania right now, the fastest growing, in terms of new development, are natural gas and solar. Solar has turned a corner. 10 years, it was not cost effective. It is now. The reductions over the last 10 years have been dramatic.
What's going to be, finishing up here, what's the strategy here for the election coming up? The presidential election could, in effect, be decided by people living within about 20 miles from where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah,
and that could be a major issue.
Yeah, it could be, and I think that if you've got a far left candidate like an Elizabeth Warren, for instance, and there are many others who could say the same, who is anti-fracking, who would like to have the government come in and start banning various forms of energy, nationally. I think that's going to benefit the president, and I think that it's going to create more support for the president in western PA, but also in central PA, northern tier, and even parts of the southeast. A pro-business candidate in a time of economic growth is a no-brainer. And granted, partisanship is ugly right now. There's no doubt in my mind. We look at the numbers. I'll throw one at you right here. We asked our voters, and this is on both sides of the aisle, and in fact, to weigh it, we even measured a handful more Democrats than we did ours. But we asked them, what do you prefer when it comes to energy policy? Do you want mandates, or do you want approaches that allow markets and businesses to provide more energy production, including clean, renewable, as well as our legacy sources like natural gas? And they 63 to 31 in 2018. In 2019, that was 70% in favor of free markets to 26% in favor of government mandates and quotas. The voters on both sides of the aisle, when they actually look past the partisanship and they're given a chance to answer the question, they prefer free markets, they prefer free enterprise, and a socialist candidate might be a good thing for Donald Trump's reelection.
In this story that I found that about Mayor Peduto being in Spain and being as green as you can get, it mentions in here a study just released by Carnegie Mellon University, says post-fracking, cracking, and drilling activity in the Appalachian Basin in and around Pittsburgh contributed to up to 4,600 premature deaths between 2004 and 2016, with an estimated overall economic toll of $23 billion. If that's true, then they not only should they ban fracking, but the U.S. Army should come in and have them take over the area. I mean, that's major death there. What do you know about that?
Well, I've not heard those numbers before, and I got to tell you that sounds like a
4,600 people
something
dead
from Hollywood.
Yeah,
there should be a movie, and it would be sort of an action film, and maybe Dwayne Johnson would parachute in and start saving lives or something. That sounds ridiculous to me, and I and the ones that are out there in the press. I mean, they're trying. These things are trying to influence public opinion and influence research rather than measure it. And so that's the problem. That's why the press got the 2016 election so wrong, is because they were weighing this in ridiculous ways to try to give Hillary Clinton a fighting chance, as they, I suspect internally knew that she was tanking. That type of fanciful fear-mongering I don't think it's selling that well anymore. I think that most thoughtful people in Western PA and, frankly, around our state see through that sort of stuff. And number one. Number two, I think we had 60 Minutes talking to some of the families of the victims, if that was true.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, Chad, I'm out of time. Thanks for being here. Chad Forcey, Executive Director of the Conservative Energy Forum. I hope we talk to you again before the election. So thanks.
Hey, we'd love to do it.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back.
We're living in a very successful, affluent society for many people. Yet it's also true that there are people that are being left out of that. And how do we reach those people?
Jarrell Gilliam, Executive Director at Life Rescue Mission on Pittsburgh's North Side.
So part of what Light of Life does is that we help them in our education and employment program to connect with workforce development, to look at the skill gap that exists. And so we're partnering with places like the community college. We're taking our clients, once they are clean and they are ready to move on, now they can actually get credentialed in an area where they can be hired to work with UPMC or Google or Amazon or these other places. And so it provides an on-ramp for those who are left out to get back involved in society.
Help someone else find their comeback story. To become a monthly partner or make a one-time gift, visit lightoflife.org/give today. lightoflife.org/give.
Confusing, tedious, worse than a math test. That's how most Americans describe shopping for health insurance. Yep, open enrollment is here again. You have until December 15th to choose something very expensive that you hope to never use. And if that makes you want to stick a red-hot poker in your eye, call Marley Financial. Marley has every plan available in the tri-state, but they also offer some of the most innovative solutions to tackle the high cost of health care. Heard of first dollar benefits, the most expensive part of a health plan? They're great if you visit the doctor a lot or take medications, but if you're healthy, why pay it? A catastrophic plan through Marley all you need. Or how about a high deductible plan you can pair with a supercharged HSA? Not all plans qualify, but Marley's do, offering double benefits to cut your out-of-pocket costs in half. Call Marley Financial today at 724-884-1496 for a custom-designed health plan with the coverage you need at a price that's right for you. 724-884-1496 or at marleyfg.com.
As we enter this holiday season, we've stopped to reflect on what we're grateful for. This is Greg Trzynski, and at the Original Mattress Factory, we're grateful for you, our loyal customers. With your support, more than half of our business comes from repeat customers and referrals, and we have been hometown made for nearly 30 years. So thank you. We look forward to building new relationships and providing the high quality and great value that you've come to expect from the Original Mattress Factory. We wish you and your family a happy and healthy holiday season and a wonderful new year.
Here at the Original Mattress Factory, we want to know, is it better to give or to receive? This holiday season, one local winner won't have to choose. In the spirit of the season, we will be giving away a queen-size orthopedic luxury firm mattress set to a local winner and providing another set to be donated to a nearby charity. Visit any Original Mattress Factory location by December 18th to enter and for all official rules. No purchase is necessary to win, but eligibility restrictions do apply. We wish you and your family a holiday season that's filled with cheer and goodwill.
Good morning, America.
Or is it? If you're one of the millions of Americans who did not sleep well last night, it's probably a pretty average morning.
But listen up, you sleep-deprived people. There's good news. A breakthrough sleep solution called Pronto Sleep.
And when we say pronto, we mean pronto. Pronto Sleep gently opens your nose to focus breathing and help you relax and fall asleep. And the built-in centrifuge delivers a blend of 4 pure essential oils to help you stay asleep naturally.
And then Pronto replenishes the oils ready for the next night. Too easy, eh?
And in trials, 84% of people with trouble sleeping found Pronto helped them fall asleep, and 74% found it helped them stay asleep. So make every morning a
Good Morning America.
With Pronto Sleep, available now at select Walgreens, Amazon, or at prontosleep.com.
Pronto Sleep from Rhinomed, bringing you advanced nasal therapies.
You're listening to the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
Okay, it's time to get rid of your dog or your cat. You're ruining you and they are ruining the planet. In case you missed this is from the New Scientist, and It's a writer named Graham Lawton, and he says pet ownership imposes wider environmental costs. Added together, all the cats and dogs in the U.S. consume 60 million people, effectively increasing the population by a fifth. And pet food are often leftovers from the human food chain, but this isn't always the case. Even if they are, they still have to be processed, packaged, and transported. What comes out the other end is an even stinkier problem, equivalent to the feces of 90 million people, generating 64 million tons of greenhouse gases. So there you have it. I hate to say it, he says, but pet ownership is another unsustainable aspect of modern consumer lifestyles that we are going to have to confront. It isn't the biggest, but it isn't negligible. Like almost every other environmental vice, the problem is getting worse as pet ownership rises around the world. So get rid of your dog today. Well, here's the thing. And I read the story, and his cat died, and he felt bad about it, as you would expect. But he said that he has another cat, and he's not going to get another cat when his second cat dies, because he's no longer going to have a cat, because he's going to do his job to save the planet. Maybe there'd be some way we could get him removed from the planet, which I would rather see than my dog being removed from the planet. I won't say how, but I don't know, a rocket ship maybe, but get him out of here. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
The John Steigerwald Show is a production of AM 1250, The Answer, and Salem Media Group.
Hey, Pittsburgh, this is Tunch Ilkin from my good friends at Calusi Show.